مستعدون أنتم؟ السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. So, given a class, you guys are going to sit over there in the corner. ولو أنه صلى هناك يكون أفضل. ولو صلى فوق لكان أفضل. طيب بسم الله. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة كل ضلالة في النار. We continue in the chapter of Bab Tabarruk or Man Tabarrak Bishajarin or Hajarin wa Nahwihima. The chapter for when the one who seeks blessing with a tree or a rock or anything similar to it. We stopped at the ayat in the book of Allah Tabarrak wa Ta'ala where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says Surah Al-Najm أفرأيتم اللات والعزى ومناة الثالثة الأخرى ألكم الذكر وله الأنثى تلك إذا قسمة ضيزى إن هي إلا أسماء سميتموها أنتم وآباؤكم ما أنزل الله بها من سلطان إن يتبعون إلا الظن وما تهوى الأنفس لقد جاءهم من ربهم الهدى أم للإنسان ما تمنى فلله الآخرة والأولى وكم من ملك في السماوات ما تغني شفاعتهم شيئا إلا من بعد أن يأذن الله لمن يشاء ويرضى. في المرة القادمة يمكنكم تصلوا فوق، تصلوا فوق وتأخذ راحتكم فوق بس نمشي حالكم إن شاء الله. معذورون أنتم. طيب we stopped at the ayat in the book of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala Surah Al-Najm where Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says in his book talking about al-manat afara'aytum al-lat. We talked about last lesson that lat is who. We said based upon the tafsir in which Ibn Kathir and Ibn Jarir al-Tabari and other than them from the ulama of tafsir, that he said that the ayah breaks down into two recitations. We said one recitation is أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ اللَّاتِ وَالتَّخْفِيف التَّاء. أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ اللَّاتِ. And we said lat was who everyone? We said was what everyone? We said it was a حجر أملس أبيض عليه النقوش. That it was a rock and it was big and it was smooth. And if you'll find one narration it says amlas. Amlas means like smooth. Na'im. Well, na'im is the linguistic word for smooth, but also for a rock they use the word amlas. حجر أبيض كبير صخر كبير أملس عليه النقوش. We said that the meaning of Lat was what, everyone? We said this last class. What is it? We said it was a rock. Khata, wrong. We said it was a rock. It was a smooth white rock or a smooth rock. And upon it, and it had those nuqush or naqsh. It had those carvings or those writings. And we said that Lat was located where? It was located in Mecca or in the area of Mecca. We also mentioned and said that Lat was what, everyone? What, in regards to the description of it, not Lat with the shadda. We also said that it was a huge raised structure. It was a structure upon it. And I forgot to tell everyone that it was also a sedana. That particular idol that was worshipped besides Allah during the time of the Prophet, or before the Prophet ﷺ, and when he came, and then he ﷺ had destroyed it and demolished it. We said that Lat was from those idols that the people used to worship along with Allah Ta'ala, taking it as a shafi' or wasit, taking it as a middleman or a mediator between them and Allah Ta'ala. They also had, like we said, that structure, and they had a sedana. A sedana means he had a group of custodians who used to watch after it, that particular idol or that paganistic structure that was worshipped along with Allah, that they also used to what? Have those custodians to look after it and take care of it, that particular idol. We said that from the Sahaba who was sent to demolish it was the great Sahabi al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah radiyallahu anhu ardah. That al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah radiyallahu anhu ardah. Al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah radiyallahu anhu had came and he destroyed that idol, which is entitled, what we said, Al-Lat. So based upon the tafsir in which Ibn Kathir and also the great Imam Muhammad Jarir al-Tabari rahimahullah, you'll find that the tafsir is correct. So Mughir ibn Shu'bah was sent along to what? Destroy that idol. Also we said there was another recitation in which Ibn Abbas and other than them from the Sahaba, you'll find that used to recite the ayah with a shadda on the ta. Where Allah Ta'ala says in His book, أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ اللَّاتَ وَالْعُزَّى أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ اللَّاتَ وَالْعُزَّى. And he said upon the second tafsir, which Ibn Kathir and also Muhammad Jalil al-Tabari mentioned, he said that the meaning of la ta with a shadda on the ta, that it was a righteous man, rajul salih. It was a righteous man. كان يلت السويق للحجاج, as we know. That he used to cut up and he used to chop up that type of what they call sawiq as a food. And he used to give nourishment to the hujjaj or the people performing hajj in order to give them nourishment and to aid them. And upon that tafsir, the man used to be at a certain place where that rock was located. So the rock, upon the first tafsir, and also likewise connecting it with the second, is you'll find that Shaykh Abul Hasan Sahib Fath al-Majid, Shaykh Abdul Rahman Ali Hasan Ali Shaykh, the one who explained Fath al-Majid, saying that both tafsirs are correct and they can be coupled together and joined together. That the man who was a righteous person, he used to give nourishment to the hujjaj at that rock. And he used to give him that food. And then when he died, as the people became devoted to that rock or that place, they started devoting themselves to it and gathering around that place until Shaitan came to them. And they thought it was something peculiar and a distinguishing factor about that place. And it was something special until he put in their mind to start worshiping that what? That rock, and Allah also likewise that person. And it became an idol, of which you see clearly in this narration that what? It became something that was worshipped along with Allah, tabaraka wa ta'ala. As you say, as Shaykh Abdul-Rahman, as he said, Sahib al-Fath al-Majid, that he said there's no contradiction between both, as they did and fell into both things. Number one is that rock was worshipped along with Allah, and they glorified it and magnified it, and also likewise that person, that man, where was the rock was actually the place where he used to feed the Hujjaj, which came as a result of it, like we said. They took it as an idol of worship besides Allah. And like we said, Al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah was commanded to destroy the rock and to demolish the structure. As you'll find all the Sahaba, when they came, especially with a lot of the idols in which was worshipped along with Allah, you notice that it had those high structures to it. It had like a high lofty dome, or it had a type of structure that stand out about it. It was something that was raised. And the Prophet ﷺ, you will find, they commanded that that type of structure be demolished, and that it be leveled, and that it be removed. Because that was one of the tricks of Shaitan, to lead the people down the road of polytheism. When he seen that high, lofty structure or some type of structure raised, to think that there's something special about the person, until they fell into this type of polytheism. We said that the second Manat, Al-Uzza. Al-Uzza, as we said, was where? Mecca and Ta'if. Between Mecca and Ta'if. And Ta'if is close to what? Mecca. Sheikh Salih Fawzan and a lot of different summer vacations, you'll find that he goes from Riyadh to Ta'if. And he'll take vacation there during the summertime, Sheikh Salih Fawzan, which is in Ta'if, is not that far from Mecca. Between Mecca and Ta'if, there was an idol that was called Uzza. And we said Uzza, notice that the mushrikeen, the pagans during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they would take Uzza, which is a female name actually. It's a female mu'annath or ta'neeth, or that female name. And they would take the word Aziz, which is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then flip it and make it into a what? A feministic type name, which is Uzza. And if you notice, the Uzza was a woman. She was a woman, which we said from the last class, where she was naked. And also likewise her hair was spread out until Khalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu, save Allah, came and he demolished the idol, which it was those three samarat, or those thalathatu ashjar. In one narration says thalathu samarat, those three trees or those bundles of trees. Then under it was that woman who was naked, in which Shaitan inspired her to do this evil action and spreaded her hair, until when Khalid ibn Walid had destroyed the actual idol of those thalatha samrat, of those three trees. Then afterwards, he came to the Prophet ﷺ and he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, أَنَّكَ لَمْ تَصْنَعْ شَيْئًا. The Prophet ﷺ said, you didn't do anything, Khalid. Even though you destroyed the actual trees or those structures or those idols, you didn't do anything. As Khalid al-Walid radiallahu anhu had came back, and upon sight of Khalid al-Walid, the people who were around that idol worshipping it, upon sight they ran. As we know, Khalid al-Walid radiallahu anhu, Saif Allah, when he was coming, he used to instill fear and to the people upon his sight of just seeing him. So they fled to the hills and they fled away from him until he came upon this woman who was naked. And then we know that that woman was inspired by the shaitan. If not, she was a shaitana, in which Khalid bin Walid had came to the woman and she was actually killed. Until when he came back to the Prophet ﷺ, he said, that was Uzza. The Prophet ﷺ said, Tilka Uzza. You'll find that that was a very famous idol. That idol was very famous amongst the mushrikeen during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Why? Because sometime in the battles of Badr, you'll find that Abu Sufyan, before he became Muslim, as we said, Abu Sufyan, radiyallahu anhu ardah, as Abu Sufyan, during the battle of Badr, he used to say this statement, Lana Uzza wa la Uzza lakum. Lana Uzza wa la Uzza lakum. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قولوا الله مولانا ولا مولى لكم. In the battle of Badr, where Abu Sufyan had mentioned and said that we have what belongs to us Uzza and you have no Uzza. And the Prophet ﷺ said, say, Allah is our Mawla, you have no Mawla. Allahu Mawlana wa la Mawla lakum. So those were from the famous idols that were worshipped along with Allah, in which they were also raised in some of its structures. And the last was also al-Manat. As Manat was the last idol. And we know Manat is the female word for the word Mannan. As we know that is from the characteristics and names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, al-Mannan. They used it and made it into a feministic or a female type version of it, al-Manat. Al-Manat, which was another famous idol, which was in Mushallal bi Qudayd. And Qudayd to this day is still near Medina. That was the third idol. And it's not far from Al-Medina to this day. There's an area called Qudayd. You'll find even the signs in the road, especially in the highway, has written right on the board, Qudayd. Qudayd, or Bil-Mushallal min Qudayd, was that idol called Manat. And Allah Ta'ala had also condemned their idol, in which they also had those different custodians, people watching over it, and they had a structure, and they had even an astar. It even had like a cover or a curtain to it. It even had a curtain to it. Until, like we said, the Prophet ﷺ had commanded Ali bin Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu to go and destroy that idol. As all those idols, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala condemned all of them in that ayah. أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ اللَّاتَ وَالْعُزَّى وَمَنَاةَ الثَّالِثَةَ الْأُخْرَى أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ اللَّاتَ وَالْعُزَّى وَمَنَاةَ الثَّالِثَةَ الْأُخْرَى أَلَكُمُ الذَّكَرُ وَلَهُ الْأُنْثَى. Then Allah Ta'ala says, does it belong to you, those males, and it belongs to Allah, females? As you'll find during the time of the mushrikeen, during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, of course, during the time of the Arab, they used to highly look down upon the one who had daughters. Before the actual wahi came, in order to establish the haqq and lay down what is clear, the Arab during the time, or the pagans, they used to look down upon having little girls, because they thought it was going to bring some type of dishonor to the family, either by doing something that is of zina or fornication, something that will cause dishonor to the family and bring the family name down and make it lose its value or make it become discredit or discredit the family. They used to actually hate having girls, until different ayat in which Allah Ta'ala says in His book about this. He said, فَإِذَا بُشِّرَ أَحَدُهُمْ بِالْأُنْثَى ظَلَّ وَجْهُهُ مُسْوَدًّا وَهُوَ كَظِيمٌ يَتَوَارَى مِنَ الْقَوْلِ مَنْ سُوءِ مَا بُشِّرَ بِهِ أَيُمْسِكُهُ عَلَى هُنٍ أَوْ أَمْ يَدُسُّهُ فِي التُّرَابِ سَاءَ مَا يَحْكُمُونَ. As Allah Ta'ala says in Surah An-Nahl, where He says in His book, He says, فَإِذَا بُشِّرَ أَحَدُهُمْ بِالْأُنْثَى ظَلَّ وَجْهُهُ مُسْوَدًّا وَهُوَ كَظِيمٌ يَتَوَارَى مِنَ الْقَوْمِ مِنْ سُوءِ مَا بُشِّرَ بِهِ أَوْ يُمْسِكُهُ عَلَى هُنًى أَمْ يَدُسُّهُ فِي التُّرَابِ سَاءَ مَا يَحْكُمُونَ. Allah Ta'ala says, if one of them was given glad tidings or given tidings of a girl, He says, ظَلَّ وَجْهُهُ مُسْوَدًّا وَهُوَ كَظِيمٌ. His face became black and he became kadhim. He became in a very sorrowful, in a very depressed manner. Not only that, as Allah Ta'ala says in Surah An-Nahl, He says, يَتَوَارَى مِنَ الْقَوْمِ. They used to hide from the people, from the evil that which he was given of that news. أَيُمْسِكُ عَلَى هُونَ. He says, will you hold it, humiliating it, meaning her, the female, or do you put it in the dirt? As we know, also likewise during the time of some of the mushrikeen, they used to bury their daughters alive, out of believing that having a female or a little girl was something of giving of evil tidings, or something bad was going to happen, or something that was detrimental upon the family honor, or her bringing the family honor down. This is the reason of why Allah Ta'ala had talked about the history of some of the Arab, of how their state was, in order to show Allah's favor upon them, that this was your state. Now look at you now. Then you remember when you used to do this. And now we know Allah Ta'ala also says in this book about on the day of resurrection, where Allah Ta'ala says in Surah At-Takwir, وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ. On the day of resurrection, the woman, the girl who's maw'udah. As maw'udah means the woman or the girl that was buried alive. On the day of resurrection, Allah is going to bring them forth and they will be asked while they were buried alive. So this was the state of the Arab, that they used to deem females as some type of ar, some type of discredit or something dishonorable. That would bring harm or bring some type of discredit to the family. So if a man during the time of the Arab, they would not feel any type of happiness if he had a female. So Allah Ta'ala used this as a proof against them. Allah Ta'ala says, أَلَكُمُ الذَّكَرُ وَلَهُ الْأُنْثَى. To you belongs the males and to Allah belongs the females. تِلْكَ إِذًا قِسْمَةٌ ضِيزَةٌ. This type of distribution or this type of taqseem or this distribution or this category that you made, you even know is what? Unjust. Because you yourselves do not love those little girls. So why is it that you have the males and you give to Allah Ta'ala the what? The females, if this is your belief. So Allah Ta'ala used that as an argument against them, to establish what? Their belief against them, which is also incorrect. The belief in itself is incorrect. But not only in order to show their contradiction in it, it said, if you truly love Allah and you glorify Allah, why is it that you give yourselves the males and you give Allah Ta'ala the what? The females. Verily, that's an unjust for what? Distribution. So we say, تِلْكَ إِذًا قِسْمَةٌ ضِيزَةٌ. Verily, these are just mere names that you call, you and your forefathers, in which Allah Ta'ala did not send down with any authority. The point of reference of the tarjumah, of the reason why Sheikh Muhammad Abdul-Wahhab put these ayats in the chapter. You okay? The point of why Sheikh Muhammad Abdul-Wahhab was they call munasabat al-tarjuma lil-bab, the reason why this was put in the chapter, because all those different idols, every single last one of those people was seeking tabarruk or blessings by those particular idols. For this is the reason why the ayats was put in the chapter in the first place. Seeking blessing in those idols, either by dua or either by touching the dead or touching their graves, or even if it's making tawaf around them, making what they call circumambulation around them, or touching that dirt, and also even worshiping those from the salihin, This is not time for siwak, brothers. And also likewise, worshiping those from the Salihin. So we say from the righteous, from those who used to worship the dead, we will find that in regards to them seeking barakah from their dirt, or whether it be from the structures, or even it's just merely from making dua. All of this is from the reason why the Prophet of Sheikh Muhammad Abdul-Wahhab had put these ayats in the chapter. Because the mushrikeen during the time of the Prophet ﷺ used to seek barakah by these type of idols that was worshipped along with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the munasabatu tarjama lil bab, in which Sheikh Muhammad Abdul-Wahhab put these ayats in the chapter, it shows his fiqh, and it shows that everything is in its proper place. The next ayah in which Sheikh Muhammad Abdul-Wahhab put in the chapter, which is what everyone, can you read it for me, Abdul Muhsin? Oh, I'm sorry, the hadith. Hadith, man.
وللمشركين سكرات يعقدون
أسلحتهم
فمررنا بسكرة فقلنا يا رسول الله اجعل لنا ذات ألوات كما لهم ذات ألوات فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الله أكبر إنا حسنا
سنن، وفي رواية سنن، وفي رواية سنن، إنها السنن.
بنو إسرائيل لموسى اجعل لنا إلها كما لهم آلهة قال إنكم قوم تجهلون.
They put the full ayah in there? Okay. لتركبون سنن من كان قبلكم. لتركبون سنن من كان قبلكم. Read it for me, Abdullah. Start from the hadith, the first part. Abul Waqid al-Laythi, his name was Al-Harith ibn Auf. Al-Harith ibn Auf. So coming upon us to know who the Sahabi, what their names were. For example, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud ibn Ghafil al-Hudali. For example, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, his name was what? Abdullah ibn Qais. And also, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, his name was what everyone, Sa'd ibn Malik ibn Sinan. No, Sa'd ibn Malik ibn Sinan. All these different Sahabi was known for their kunya. Abu Hurairah, his name was who? Abdurrahman ibn Sakhr al-Dawsi. Was originally from Yemen. All these different Sahaba, we should know who their names. Also, likewise, similar to that, is also here, Abu Waqid al-Laythi, his name was Al-Harith ibn Auf. Auf. Al-Harith ibn Auf. No, تفضل, I'm sorry.
قالوا لها ذات ألوات فمرنا بسدرة فقلنا يا رسول الله اجعل لنا ذات ألوات كما لهم ذات ألوات فقال رسول الله الله أكبر إنها السنن قلتم والذي نفسي بيده كما قالت بنو إسرائيل لموسى اجعل لنا إلها كما لهم آلهة قال إنكم قوم تجهلون لتركبن سنن من كان قبلكم رواه الترمذي وصححه.
The next chapter, or the next hadith, or the next proof that Sheikh Muhammad Abdul-Wahhab rahimahullah that he put in the chapter about at-tabarruk, the seeking those barakah from those unlegislated methods that are shirkiyah, that are polytheistic. We said that the only way one attains blessing is based upon what Allah Ta'ala have revealed upon the Messenger Sallallahu of what is barakah, what has barakah in it, and what is the means or the methods of how to attain it. Our religion covers all those matters because these are the ways in which, like we said in the past, people have fell into polytheism. So that's the reason one has to educate and enlighten himself of knowing what is those actual matters or way to one to attain barakah, how does he attain it, and what is his belief in regards to. What is left in these days, like we said, the barakah of ilm, in which the ulama leave behind, whether it be in their books or in their treaties and in their authoring or their writings, that they leave behind for the people to benefit from, is a type of way of attaining barakah, no doubt. And also likewise the different forms of worship, whether it be performing umrah and going to the Kitaab al-Musharrafa and to al-Hajar al-Aswad, all those different ways which have been legislated to attain barakah. But certain ways which are, as we talked about before, shirkiyah. They're polytheistic or paganistic type of way of what? Of attaining barakah. And which you'll find that a lot of the Muslims have fell into in these days and times. As the paganistic type of way of what is deemed to be barakah, for verily we say that one has to go back to the Kitaab and Sunnah if he wants to know, or if he wants to attain that barakah in the legitimate and the most correct way. Kids, throw you off. So for that reason we say that the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was on the authority of Abu Waqid al-Laythi and Harith ibn Auf. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam had talked about the story of what happened with the mushrikeen who had that tree or had that type of structure, or it wasn't a structure, but it was actually a tree. It says, كَانَ لِلْمُشْرِكِينَ السِّدْرَةِ يَطُوطُونَ بِهَا أَسْلِحَتَهُمْ أو كانوا يعكفون عندها وينوطون بها أسلحتهم فقال وكنا حدثاء عهد بكفر فقلنا يا رسول الله اجعل لنا إلها كما لهم آله أو اجعل لنا أنواط كما لهم ذات أنواط فقال الله أكبر قلتم والذي نفسي بيده كما قال أصحاب موسى أو كما قال موسى لبني إسرائيل كما جاءت في الآية إن هؤلاء قوم ومتبر ما هم فيه وباطل ما كانوا يعملون واجعل لنا إلها كما لهم آلهة قال إنكم قوم تجهلون إن هؤلاء متبر ما هم فيه وباطل ما كانوا يعملون. That ayah. Well, Allah Ta'ala says in his book about what happened with Musa. This same story happened during the time of Sheikh Muhammad Abdul-Wahhab rahimahullah. Exactly. When our Sheikh Muhammad Abdul-Wahhab was under Medina and he was seeking knowledge at the hands of Muhammad Hayat al-Sindi. Sheikh Muhammad Hayat al-Sindi and also Muhammad al-Majmu'i, and I think it's Muhammad al-Majma'i or al-Majmu'i. Sheikh Muhammad Abdul-Wahhab rahimahullah was in al-Madinah and the people were seeking blessing by the grave of the Prophet ﷺ, and they were doing different type of polytheistic and paganistic practices right in front of him. And Sheikh Muhammad Abdul-Wahhab has said to those mashayikh who were around him, Muhammad Hayat al-Sindi and also Muhammad al-Majmu'i or al-Majma'i, that he said to him, Ish hada, ya Shaykh, what is it that these people are doing? And his same mashayikh, Sheikh Muhammad Abdul-Wahhab, Muhammad Hayat al-Sindi, said this ayah. He said, Inna ha'ula'i mutabbarun ma hum fih wa batilu ma kanu ya'malun. He said that these people, what they're doing is mutabbarun ma hum fih. That it is what? Cut off and is also hadik and destroyed and nullified of ajr, any reward what they're doing. And it is false and it is also fruitless what they're doing and what they're practicing. That same ayah, you will find that the Mashaykh of Sheikh Muhammad Abdul-Wahhab had said to him when he was seeking knowledge in Al-Madinah, before he actually returned in order to spread and start his da'wah, rahimahullah. So those two Mashaykh, that was from his Mashaykh, Muhammad Hayat al-Sindi. And also from them was Muhammad al-Majmu'i, and I think from my mind is Muhammad al-Majmu'i from what I remember, or Muhammad al-Majma'i. What comes to my mind is as Muhammad al-Majmu'i. Muhammad al-Majmu'i and Muhammad ibn Hayat al-Sindi. This exact event that took place during the time of the Prophet ﷺ happened during the time of Sheikh Muhammad Abdul-Wahhab, where people were practicing these paganistic type of actions. And as a result of it, Sheikh Muhammad Abdul-Wahhab has said, what are these people doing? And why are they doing this? Meaning these different types of paganistic and these shirkiyat, or these type of shirk that they were doing in front of him, until his jealousy took over and he said this statement. So during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, this happened exactly. You've noticed Sheikh Muhammad Abdul-Wahhab wrote this treatise, following the exact event what happened during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and this, during the time of the Sahaba who were new to Islam. As none of the Kibar al-Sahaba, the ones who were with the Messenger of Allah ﷺ and was with him a very long time, none of them were ignorant of this. So you've noticed the Sahabi here. What did it say? It says, Kunna hudatha'u ahd bi kufr. He said, we just left off disbelief. Meaning we were new. We were new. We did not know. Wasn't like Umar al-Khattab or Abu Bakr as-Siddiq or Ali ibn Abi Talib and those who are from the Ahad al-Mubashiri bil-Jannah or al-Mashhud lahum bil-Jannah, from those who have been promised paradise, from the 10 and other than them. From the Kibar al-Sahaba who was with the Messenger of Allah ﷺ a long time, of course they were well grounded in these matters, and they knew it was something that was in opposition to the aqidah of what the Messenger of Allah had told them. So notice that the Sahabi said that we just left off kufr. And they were going to the Ghazwa to Hunayn. As we know, everyone, the Ghazwa to Hunayn was about the 8th year after the Hijrah, meaning during the time of the Fath, the conquest of Mecca. It was around that time when Ghazwa to Hunayn had took place. Ghazwa to Hunayn, the Messenger of Allah ﷺ had a huge number with him, a huge number from the Sahaba. And from what I recall, it was maybe about 12,000. It was a huge number with the Messenger of Allah ﷺ. Alhamdulillah, my memory is on point. It was 12,000. Every time I mistrust my memory says you mistrust me too much. Ithna Ashar, it was 12,000 from the Messenger, from the Sahaba who accompanied the Prophet ﷺ during the time of Ghazwa to Hunayn. 12,000, and the Messenger of Allah was preparing for war against Hawazin with Thaqif. Hawazin and Thaqif. As they were preparing to make war with the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam. And the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam did not wait. As he went out in order to shut the fitna and shut the type of ruckus and all the chaos, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam came to what? Shut it down. And he went down and he left out with 12,000 sahabi. Listen to what Allah Ta'ala says in His book in regards to their numbers. As the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam, and the ayah that they all of them, some of them, were proud and amazed at the numbers that was with them. As they had a lot of numbers. That's 12,000, it was a lot. Allah Ta'ala says, وَقَدْ نَصَرَكُمُ اللَّهُ فِي مَوَاطِنَ كَثِيرًا. As Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says in His book, إِذْ يَوْمَ حُنَيْنٍ إِذْ أَعْجَبَتْكُمْ كَثْرَتُكُمْ فَلَمْ تُغْنِ عَنْكُمْ شَيْئًا وَضَاقَتْ عَلَيْكُمُ الْأَرْضُ بِمَا رَحُبَتْ ثُمَّ وَلَّيْتُمْ مُدْبِرِينَ. When the war during the time of Hunayn, when the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam had went out for that expedition in order to fight those who were going to make war with him and to battle him and engage with him in the battle. When they went out in order to fight, the ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, on the day of Hunayn, He says that your numbers pleased you. Meaning how you were huge in your numbers, in your quantity, and your numbers of 12,000, you were amazed at it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, He says, يَوْمَ حُنَيْنٍ إِذْ أَعْجَبَتْكُمْ كَثْرَتُكُمْ فَلَمْ تُغْنِي عَنْكُمْ شَيْئًا. And that didn't benefit you anything in the least, because we know that the victory is from Allah ta'ala. He says, يَوْمَ نَحْنَيْنٍ إِذْ أَعْجَبَتْكُمْ كَثْرَتُكُمْ وَلَمْ نُغْنِي عَنْكُمْ شَيْئًا وَضَاقَتْ عَلَيْكُمُ الْأَرْضُ بِمَا رَحُبَتْ ثُمَّ وَلَّيْتُمْ مُدْبِرِينَ. He said that the earth had become constricted, it was around you, and you fled, retreating. فَوَلَّيْتُمْ مُدْبِرِينَ. You fled, retreating. Then we know in that ayah, Allah Ta'ala says that He sent down the sakina upon the Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and that He gave him that what? That aid and that victory after the Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had came down that hill on Hunayn. There was a hill that the Sahaba had came down, and they didn't realize that the enemy was actually waiting for them. And upon that, a lot of them had fled, and the people that was left was the Messenger of Allah and 100 men along with him. And Allah Ta'ala had turned the battle around. And as a result of it, they won the battle. Because it says in the ayah that Allah had gave that aid and that victory to the Messenger of Allah after a lot of them had what? Had fled. Out of being pleased with their numbers. Allah Ta'ala had admonished them for this in order to teach them that their aqeedah and the nasr and the victory is from Him subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. And it does not come from the huge quantity that one has. So it says that in Yawm Hunayn, that was the battle in which this hadith took place. The hadith in the book, notice that it said that we were with the Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam where? During the what? The expedition of Hunayn. He says, then we came by that tree. He says, from فَمَرَنَّا بِسِدْرَةٍ, that tree that was called Dhatu Anwat. Dhatu Anwat. Dhatu Anwatin. Dhatu Anwat, he says that the mushrikeen, that they used to be devoted to it, and they used to hang and cling their weapons upon it. And the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam has said upon this, after they said, O Messenger of Allah, Abu Khalil, he says, O Messenger of Allah, he's so tired, he can't even hear me. O Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam, he says, make for us a Dhatu Anwat, just as they have a Dhatu Anwat. Notice that the Sahaba, keynote, and I want everybody to be attentive to this, they did not do anything. All they did was what? Request. As I found that in some people say that they fell into shirk. They didn't fall into shirk. They didn't do anything. They just merely requested. And the Messenger of Allah had what? Taught them what was correct. And that's all. They didn't fall into anything. As you'll find that some people will say that if they would have fell into it, would they have committed major polytheism? That's a mahalu bahth. That's only if it would have happened, but it didn't. That would have been a type of research to do if it would have happened, but it didn't happen. They didn't fall into anything, and nor did they do anything. All they asked, and the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had made that takbir in order to show how great it was that they requested, and the magnitude it was, and it was from those ways in which the people of polytheism have fell into it from before. And this was from the ways in which had occurred. So the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after they said, اجعل لنا ذات أنواط كما لهم ذات أنواط, the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam said, Allahu Akbar, إنها سنن, and there's another narration, sunan, والذي نفسي بيده كما قالت بنو إسرائيل لموسى اجعل لنا إلها كما لهم آلهة قال إنكم قوم تجهلون إن هؤلاء متبر ما هم فيه وباطل ما كانوا يعملون. Allah Ta'ala says in the ayah in which the Prophet ﷺ had recited to the Sahaba, as they wanted to attain by clinging those weapons on the tree, they wanted to attain by barakah, meaning that maybe it will help them in the battle and the ghazwa and the expedition that they were in order for them to attain victory. Trying to seek some type of barakah from the tree or from that type of Dhata Anwat. The Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam had made that equivalent to what Banu Israel had asked for what? With Musa. So make for us a deity just like they had those deities. And the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam had taught them and reprimanded that this is from the ways from before. So you see in the hadith, number one, the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam has a lot of different benefits in which he alayhi salatu wasalam had mentioned to them. Number one is, from them is that one, even though they just recently left off kufr, still can have some of that effect from which he carried on from before, where it can even come in the religion, which he will have to be taught, so he can remove it from himself. And that's a lot of different things. But notice that the type of polytheism that they recently just left off, they did not know, which is to show how the Sahaba, the Messenger of Allah alayhim radiyallahu anhu wa ardahum, if this was the Sahaba, who is the best of creation after all the prophets and messengers, in which Allah Ta'ala said that all of them are in paradise, then what about the people who come after them? Then they're even more in need of what? These type of benefits and these type of education and the type of enlightenment, so they do not fall into this. This was the Sahaba, the best of creation, in which all of them have been promised paradise. لا يستوي منكم من قاتل من أنفق من قبل الفتح وقاتل أولئك أعظم درجة من الذين أنفقوا من بعد وقاتلوا وكل وعد الله الحسنى. As Allah says in Surah Al-Hadid, where He says about all the Sahaba, every single one of them have been promised paradise. The one who spent before the Fath, before the conquest, and those who spent after the conquest, Allah Ta'ala says they're not equal. But however, all of them have been promised al-husna, all of them will be in paradise. So it's not for anyone to speak ill about the Sahaba. How can you speak about somebody that Allah said they're going to be in paradise? How can you speak about them? How do you think you have a right to speak about anyone who's already known that they're going to paradise? And if a person that's going to paradise, meaning that Allah is what? Pleased with him. Anybody that's in paradise is known Allah is pleased with you. There's not no one in paradise Allah is not pleased with you. At first, the person, if he has to be punished, he'll be purified. But after that, the pleasure of Allah will be on him forever. You understand, everyone? So all of the Sahaba are in paradise. So we're trying to reach their level that they have already what? Attained. So for anyone now to try to use this hadith to say that some of the Sahaba have fell into shirk, hasha wa kalla. They did not fall into shirk. They didn't do anything. It was just a mere request, and the Messenger of Allah had taught them what was correct. So from the benefits of this matter is what, everyone? We said that how? There would be some effect of what a person just left off due to lack of knowledge. How he can what? Fall into something that's incorrect. Even in the aspect of shirk. If one is not careful and doesn't educate himself and enlighten himself and deeply root himself in these affairs, then he can fall into it. Due to the fact that the Sahaba, who are the greatest of creation, had what? Had requested something that was, and contrary to what is the correct Tawheed and the Aqeedah and the worship of Allah. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ had also mentioned and said, this is what the people of Bani Israel, Musa said to the people of Bani Israel. The Messenger of Allah had also, in this particular hadith, notice that he made it with Bani Israel. As the Messenger of Allah, in a lot of different narrations, والسلام, compared that the actions that the Muslims will fall into will be similar to what Bani Israel and the people of the book will do. To the point where even he, والسلام, had mentioned in the hadith, which you know the authority, Abdullah ibn Amr, and the Imam al-Adbani had also declared it to be Hasan, where he said about the people of Bani Israel, he said, for Bani Israel, he says, وَإِنَّ مِنْ أُمَّتِي, he says, وَإِنَّ مِنْ أُمَّتِي لَمَنْ يَأْتِي أُمَّهُ عَلَانِيَةً وَكَانَ فِي أُمَّتِي مَنْ يَفْعَلُ ذَلِكَ. He said, for verily what came upon the people of Bani Israel will come upon my ummah. لَكَانَ مَا أَتَى عَلَى بَنِي إِسْرَائِيل. It says it's going to come to my ummah. He says, حَتَّى وَلَوْ كَانَ فِي أُمَّتِي مَنْ يَأْتِي أُمَّهُ عَلَانِيَةً لَكَانَ فِي أُمَّتِي مَنْ يَصْنَعُ ذَلِكَ. Listen to this part when the Messenger of Allah ﷺ has said, verily what came upon Bani Israel will come upon my ummah. He says, so much so, the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, he said, there will be from my ummah who will come and be intimate with his own mother openly. There will be somebody in my ummah that would do it. This is to show how much resemblance that what? That the Muslims will have now. That the Muslims will have with Bani Israel. In which Imam al-Adbani had authenticated and said it was Naam, Hasan, absolutely. Then it says in the last part of the hadith, when the Messenger of Allah mentioned it, said, he says, وَإِنَّ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيل افترقت على 72 مِلَّةً وستفترق على أمتي على 73 مِلَّةً, to the end of the hadith. Verily Bani Israel broke off into different sects, and also my ummah will do the exact same thing. They will break up into different sects, and all of them will be in hell. except one to the end of the narration. So the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in so many different narrations show how it would be resemblance with his ummah, with that which is a Bani Israel, especially in this hadith here. Verily he said, you would most definitely take on the ways of what? Of those who preceded you. They're sanan. And I think it's self-explanatory for us to say, and what we see taken around us, to see how the Muslims are exactly like Bani Israel and exactly like the Christians in so many different ways. So the Messenger of Allah here, oh man, it's 12:8:28. We'll stop here, inshallah, because I got to do the next class. Anything? Any questions about the lesson? The same, what happened during the time when Sheikh Muhammad Abdul-Wahhab was in Medina. And he was taking knowledge upon Muhammad Hayat Sindi and Muhammad al-Majmu'i. And they were people that were actually they were seeking blessing in the different grave, or the grave of the Prophet ﷺ and the grave of the Sahaba. And they were also doing shirk. They were practicing polytheism in front of him. And to the point where he said, what is this that he's doing? Why are they doing this? What are they doing this right in front of me? Why are they doing this? So his mashayikh replied to them this ayat. The ayat what the Prophet ﷺ said. The ayat which is in the Prophet ﷺ mentioned to the Sahaba. Verily this inna ha'ulai mutabbarun ma hum fi wa batilu ma kanu ya'malun. Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahhab said, his mashayikh said that ayat to him. That ayat right there. Say it again. Al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah. Al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah. Every time I think of Mughira ibn Shu'bah, something else comes to my mind. Any other lesson? Any other question? It was said that he married 50 times or something like that. I'm not sure about it. That's what it was narrated. It was said now. It was a narration, Sira A'lam al-Nubala. Not at the same time. No. Any other questions? Well, just find his sirah, find his Mughir al-Shu'bah and just read it. It's right there. Sirah A'lam al-Nubala, al-Imam al-Dhahabi. It's in there. Who's like the Sahaba? Who's going to follow Sahaba and not something like that? Nobody's like the Sahaba. Don't forget the other things they used to do. Sahaba also used to pray at night, every night. They used to do a lot of fasting. A lot. They used to do a lot of ibadah during the night. Don't miss that either. Any other questions about the lesson? You can start on the next one. No, the next lesson. Yeah. Asik, you call you there for me, please. هذا وصلى الله وسلم بارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. صفحة 91. We're supposed to pray soon, brothers. I think I did that. طيب بسم الله. الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تمسك بسنته ليوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد، فنواصل درسنا في شرح الأجرومية للعلامة ابن أجروم رحمه الله. وقد قرأنا شيئا من كلام الشارح الإمام محمد صالح العثيمين رحمه الله، ولعلنا نواصل درسنا اليوم في الأسئلة. فسأل الشيخ: كم العلامات الآن؟ قال: 5. وجدتم الصفحة؟ وجدت الصفحة؟ Gnarly. Is it gnarly? Looks like a gnarly. Just read along with him. What's this? Just share with him. If you can't find a page, share with him. Found it? Say it again. طيب. Share with Abdullah. كم العلامات الآن؟ 5، وهي الفتحة والألف والكسرة والياء وحذف النون. قال المؤلف رحمه الله: وأما حذف النون وهي العلامة الخامسة للنصب، فيكون علامة النصب في الأفعال 5 التي رفعها بثبات النون أو ثبوت النون. صحيح، كلاهما صحيح، كله صحيح. فيكون علامة النصب في الأفعال 5 رفع بثبات النون. الأفعال 5 التي رفعها بثبات النون هي يفعلان وتفعلان ويفعلون وتفعلون وتفعلين. هذه تنصب ليست بالفتحة ولا بالكسرة ولا بالألف ولا بالياء، تنصب بحذف النون. فتقول مثلا: لن تفعل. طيب، لن تفعل كيف نعربه؟ نقول هنا فعل مضارع منصوب بلن. صحيح، منصوب بلن، وعلامة نصبه حذف النون نيابة عن الفتحة، ولأنه من الأفعال 5. صحيح؟ طيب، وأصلها تفعلان، فإذا دخل عليها الناصب حذفت النون. فلنعرب هذه الجملة، نقول: لن حرف نفي ونصب واستقبال. تفعل فعل مضارع منصوب بلن، وعلامة نصبه حذف النون. لو قال قائل: لن تفعلان، قلنا هذا خطأ، هذا لحن. ما معنى اللحن؟ لحن بمعنى الخطأ في الإعراب أو الخطأ في الصرف، هو يعني الخطأ اللغوي. اللحن، انتبهوا إليه، يا معشر الإخوة، اللحن هو الخطأ النحوي أو العربي أو النحو، هو الخطأ اللغوي أو النحوي. هذا هو المراد باللحن. هذا هو المراد باللحن. لا يجوز في اللغة العربية أن تقول لن تفعلا، لا تفعلاني، هذا خطأ. طيب، تفعلون فعل مضارع من الأفعال الخمسة، ينصب بحذف النون. we're about to pray right now. ينصب بحذف النون، فتقول لن تفعلوا وتحذف النون. لن حرف النفي والنصب واستقبال. تفعل فعل مضارع منصوب بلن وعلامة نصبه حذف النون، والواو فاعل. لو قلت لن تفعلوا، لو لن تفعلون لكان ماذا؟ خطأ، أليس كذلك؟ لأنه لا بد من حذف النون. الخامس من الأفعال تفعلين، وهذا تخاطب به المرأة، فتقول أنت تفعلين. أدخل عليها لن التي تنصب، فتقول لن تفعلين. صحيح؟ نقول هذا خطأ. الصحيح لن تفعلي، لأنها تنصب بحذف النون أو تنصب بحذف النون. طيب، قال الله تعالى لن يضروكم إلا أذى. أصل يضروكم يضرونكم، فلما دخلت عليها لن وهي تنصب حذفت النون فصارت لن يضروكم. قال الله تعالى في الحديث القدسي يا عبادي إنكم لن تبلغوا نفعي فتضروني، وأصلها تبلغون، فلما دخلت عليها لن وهي تنصب حذفت النون. فهمتم هذا الكلام؟ ولكن كما قلنا في الدروس السابقة هذا ليس خاص بحرف لن، هذا بالنسبة لأي أداة من أدوات النصب. هذا بالنسبة لأي أداة من أدوات النصب، سواء كان حرف لن أو حرف أن، حرف مصدر ونصب أن وكي ولام التعليل وإذن، وحتى التعليلية والغائية، حتى التعليلية والغائية، كل هذه تعتبر أداة من أدوات النصب. إذا سبقت الأفعال المضارعة بأي واحدة من هذه الأدوات، فحينئذ تنصب هذه الأفعال، يعني الأفعال الخمسة، وتنصب بحذف النون، سواء كان ذلك لن أو أن أو كي أو حتى. كتبنا هذه على السبورة مرارا تكرارا، فلا داعي لإعادتها ها هنا، لأننا قد كتبناها في الدرس الماضي، أليس كذلك؟ طيب، طيب، بقي دقيقتان ثم بعد ذلك نصلي. أنا ما أدري هل تريدون أن نشرع في الدرس الجديد أو ننتظر حتى الأسبوع القادم؟ ولعلنا نستأنف بعد الصلاة، يعني كثير من الناس الآن ينتظرون أن نصلي العشاء معا، وبالتالي نصلي. وإذا أردت أن تبقوا عندي فأنا يعني ما عندي مانع أن أستأنف الدرس بعد الصلاة، ما عندي مانع. هذا الأمر راجع إليك. وبعد أن ننتهي من الصلاة فبإمكاننا أن نجلس يعني ربع الساعة أو ثلث الساعة، هذا إذا كان في طاقتكم ووسعكم، فبإمكاننا أن نواصل الدرس بعد الصلاة إن شاء الله بإذن الله. ننادي الإخوة تعالوا نصلي العشاء الآن. طيب، نواصل الدرس بعد الصلاة إن شاء الله، بعد أن ننتهي من العشاء نؤدي العشاء وبعده نستأنف الدرس. لا أريد نمزح، لعلنا نكتب امتحان إن شاء الله، لعلنا نكتب امتحان. كي هذا سيأتي إن شاء الله فيما بعد إن شاء الله. Did you It's you, Shaz. Abu Khadal, can you tell the brothers outside that we're about to start praying? No, they're hanging out outside. استووا اعتدلوا تراصوا استووا صفوفكم فإن تسوية الصفوف من تمام الصلاة. Yes, draw straight, you crooked. He's not sitting down. You. Move your right foot forward, Sheikh. A little bit. Move this foot forward. Do this foot. A little bit more. This foot. A little bit more. Stop. Now push it back a little bit. Go back. This foot. A little bit more. There you go. Move this foot forward. Forward. Stop. Move this foot forward. More. Way more. Got a long way to go. Go forward more. 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 Stop. Close this gap right here. Alright, Talut. Move your foot. There you go. Now move your left foot forward. Now you moved it back. Stop. Move your left foot forward. Huh? What happened? Oh, his son? Yeah, that's his son right there. Talut, move your left foot forward. So, move your right foot forward. What is up with you and this body turning this way? Turn your left foot forward. Move this one forward more. There you go. More. Keep going more. There you go. Why did you move? Straight. Focus. Focus. There you go. What can I do? It was worse than this. It was going like this. You got